total bullshit.
This is CNN, home of fake news.
In our Supreme Court correspondent reporter Ariane DeVogue. First, Ariane, we heard the president say she will decide cases based on the Constitution as written, and then we heard Judge Coney Barrett as saying the law must be applied as written. So, total bullshit. What's behind those specific words, where she's coming from, and what we would anticipate if she does become a justice on the Supreme Court over the next 30 or 40 years.
MAGA country, baby!
Right, well, absolutely. I just wanted to say that the crowd behind us, Trump supporters, started singing. You can hear we're getting a little bit of comments here with the crowd of Trump supporters.
Ariane, I want you to stand by. We can barely hear what you're saying because of the crowd behind you, and if you have a handheld mic.
Song.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just the beginning. It's payback. Oh, it's payback. Oh, payback is a bitch. Payback. Payback is a bitch. Payback. Payback is a bitch.
Is the President of the United States a racist?
But he is a racist. And for all of you who over the last few years have uttered that tired, lazy, uninformed, uneducated, ignorant response of calling me and others who point out racist behavior racists, you know what you can go do?
We have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right. And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they have the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that?
I was called a racist.
Is he suffering from some kind of illness?
Media outlets like CNN and MSNBC are fake news. Fake news.
Let's look back to see what Donald Trump was doing on 9/11 after the first responders ran into the fire.
40 Wall Street actually was the second tallest building in downtown Manhattan, and now it's the tallest.
Yes, he managed to use a tragic terrorist attack in real time to pump up the size of his skyscraper.
The Trade Center was the tallest, and then when they built the World Trade Center, it became known as the second tallest, and now it's the tallest. And I just spoke to my people, and they said it's the most unbelievable sight. It's probably 7 or 8 blocks away from the World Trade Center, and yet Wall Street is littered with 2 feet of stone and brick and mortar and steel. And there are thousands of people walking over the debris over the Brooklyn Bridge, where they're sending them out over the Brooklyn Bridge to Brooklyn, and then I guess they're going to have to figure out how to get home from there. But they have between 1 foot and 2 feet of debris right in front of a building that's probably, you would say, Alan, 6 or 7 blocks away.
Years later, Trump bragged about being on the rubble of Ground Zero.
Everyone who helped clear the rubble, and I was there, and I watched, and I helped a little bit. You didn't know what was going to come down on all of us.
There's no record of Donald Trump being at the pile at Ground Zero. But maybe he's conflating himself with people who work for him. It's a common rich guy mistake. But even that claim, that Trump paid hundreds of guys to search through the rubble after the attack, would have to be false, because the Ground Zero perimeter was restricted in the days after the attacks. I remember because I was working at City Hall at the time.
Well, I've never seen anything like it. I've seen 2 huge 110-story buildings that are reduced to rubble, thousands and thousands of lives. I just got to see something that I've never seen before. I have hundreds of men inside working right now, and we're bringing down another 125 in a little while, and they've never done work like this before. And they're hardworking people, but they've never seen anything like it, and they've never done work like this before. It's terrible.
There's no record of Donald Trump being at the pile at Ground Zero.
Tell me what it's like at Ground Zero. Tell me about the workers that you saw and what they're doing there.
Well, not only is it devastation, but it's very dangerous because every few minutes a whistle would go off and everybody would just run because you have all the buildings around it.
But even that claim, that Trump paid hundreds of guys to search through the rubble after the attack, would have to be false.
And they're working under 50-story buildings that you don't know if they're going to fall down. So it's a terrible thing for the workers, and it's a terrible thing for the world, really.
And when I say fake news, I mean stories that are designed to trick people into believing lies.
Let's be clear. Donald Trump will lose the election.
Total bullshit.
The president even used the term LGBTQ at the Republican convention, the first time a nominee ever did that. But I guess actions speak louder than those 5 letters.
Yeah, Jake, this was the issue we wanted to look into with this story today, because 2 years into President Trump's term, it is hard to find evidence that he's making good on some really big promises.
Promises made, promises kept. Candidate Donald Trump was quick to promise his advocacy for the LGBTQ community.
As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens. Believe me, 49 wonderful Americans were savagely murdered by an Islamic terrorist. This time, the terrorist targeted LGBTQ community. No good, and we're going to stop it. As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Believe me, as your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens. Believe me, to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Believe me.
The president at every rally goes after the press, calls us fake news. Sometimes he calls us the enemy of the people and whips up these crowds into a frenzy, blames us for negative news in the press about him that week.
These people are stupid. These people are fucking stupid.
Is he fit for office?
You are fake news.
You guys at CNN, you're like a dude wearing panties and you got them all in a twist because you know exactly what's happening. We're calling you out as fake news because everybody knows that you're fake news.
CNN sucks. Go home and fake news. Wolf, wolf, wolf.
Lion Wolf Blitzer and Lion John King.
We are the people.
Don Lemon, he lies about everything.
And don't forget Don.